What's up, guys? We're here for another episode of the Discipline and Legacy podcast. Been having some great conversation before the cameras even went off. I got my boy Teddy Tarantino, came in from Lauderdale, drove up, hit the traffic. It feels like that, everything was trying to push this thing from not happening, but, we're here. I appreciate you coming today. This guy's got an amazing story, amazing testimony, just overcoming, the grips of desperation, addiction, and I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I always love doing podcasts because I really do believe that, like, I've met people, like I had a podcast for years. Like, dude, I met people who were like, yo, bro, I've never been to a 12-step meeting. I had no idea about recovery. I listened to your podcast and I was using for 6 months listening to it. And I flew down to Florida, found a meeting, got into halfway, and now I'm clean over a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, storytelling scientifically affects people, in a deep way that, some like other people can't reach,
Well, I mean, that's it too. Like you said, with most of the time, most conversations you have, if it was kind of filmed, that people would get something from it, and that's the goal here. That's what we're looking for. We want to impact the world. We want to change lives. We want to see, use this platform for good. It's a double-edged sword. I think social media can be used for good and bad things, but. Like I said, man, definitely want to start off with your story.
Yeah. Born and raised in South Florida. I grew up in Davie, Florida. I still live in Davie, Florida. I consider myself a Davie boy, forever. So I just love Florida, man. Like, whenever I travel, like, it's nice, but I don't know. I just love living here. Dude, I love guns and I love cars. And now I got, like, reptiles. So I'm, like, the typical Florida man, And like, dude, we have traffic, but it's not like crazy traffic. And I love Fort Lauderdale because I'm not like in the touristy shit of Miami. And I love living out west. I live in a quiet neighborhood, and if I want to go to Miami, I can. If I want to go to Fort Lauderdale, I can. But I like that separation. And man, growing up, my story is an insecure boy, an insecure, scared little boy that loved attention, born an addict. I truly believe I was born an addict. I think some people become addicts and some people are born addicts. And I think, like, from birth, I was just somebody who couldn't do a little bit. I believe I was born without a brake pedal. I only knew gas.
Yeah.
I didn't know pause. I didn't know slow down. I didn't know let's think about this. I don't know what could happen. I could never consider the consequences. I never would think, what if I got caught? When I would get caught, I would never think, okay, it's time to stop this behavior. It would just be like, let me not get caught again,
Yeah.
And overeater, class clown, anything that you can think of as someone who has like that addictive personality like I had, even with food. I remember my mom would be like, these cookies are for everybody.
Were you like a chunky kid? Were you?
I was
husky?
a little chubby. Yeah, I was chubby as a kid. And like, you know what? It didn't affect me till I got older, but I was insecure about that. But when I was like really young, it was like, I didn't care.
Yeah.
But dude, I used to love to eat, but more so than eat is like I would binge when no one was around. So like, when people were around, I wouldn't want
a box of popsicles or
by
something.
myself with the windows, the
Sweet,
doors
my family
closed.
went to Sam's,
Yeah.
so there'd be like 20 Hot Pockets gone on like a Saturday and
For
Sunday.
sure. And it's like, dude, I just didn't know how to have one. I didn't know how to have one. I didn't know how to eat enough. I didn't know how to I didn't know that I had enough until I had too much. And that's the story with alcohol, Coke, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just, even with food, I would eat until I was sick. And then that was like cute and funny and whatever. And then when I got older, it turned into being a class clown and little like a disciplinary issues and my dad kind of getting mad. And then I never had anything I was good at. So I feel like I became addicted to drugs early on because most people who are addicts or become addicts, their young adulthood is buffered by some type of hobby.
Yeah.
So usually when you watch like what's that addiction show where they get everyone clean? Intervention. So usually when you watch Intervention, it's like Megan was a superstar athlete until she found crystal meth.
Yeah.
So like usually it's always like
You're addicted to a sport.
Yeah,
or something.
You have some type of thing that you're into and you're great at and you have a personality and you have Like, I never had anything. Like, dude, I was just funny. I couldn't play baseball. I couldn't catch a football. I couldn't hit. Dude, I struck out in T-ball. And it's like my dad was pushing me to play sports. And, dude, I didn't want to play sports. And I was the youngest in the neighborhood. And everyone was better than me. And
South Florida, too. Like,
yeah,
you got to
South
have.
Florida.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everyone in the neighborhood was, you know, serious about sports. And, like, dude, I wasn't. And it not be like, I just didn't care. I was like,
Right.
who cares if we win or lose? Like, what? Like, are we getting pizza later? You know,
Yeah.
like, I didn't care. I was the class clown on the team and whatever, but I just never had anything I was good at. And I liked skating. So I used to skate and rollerblade, but then we moved away from the skate park.
Yep.
And then, like, you know, my dad was never really, like, supportive of skating. He was like, oh, go to the skate park, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
He wasn't proud of me skating. And another thing that I have is, like, I have daddy issues.
Okay.
You know, I strive with seeking my father's approval. I strived for, you know, trying to be, you know.
Pop's still around?
Yeah, me and him
Yeah.
are really cool now.
All right.
Yeah, me and him are best friends. But, like, as a kid, it's like, you know, my dad, you know. And it's like now I see people and, dude, and they act a certain way. And I'm grateful that my father was very tough on me. Because I'm
Same.
like, dude, you did not grow up with. My dad's name is Guillermo. And so I'm like, dude, Guillermo would not fucking be okay with that. You know, like, and now as an adult, like, I do jujitsu. And at the end of jujitsu, you got to get in line and shake everyone's hand. And you'll have young kids, 14, 15 years old, some even adults, when they go to shake your hand, they go like this and they don't even look at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, bro, when I was fucking 5 years old.
Look me in the eye, squeeze it. Yeah.
If I did it wrong, my dad would, like, get up, say, yes, sir, look him in the eye, and you give him a firm handshake. No.
My dad's a Vietnam vet Marine, but he smoked pot for 40 years after whenever I was the whoops child. But he still had enough to, you know, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Like,
yeah, my father was very disciplinary and very strict. And he was also, and then he had that other side where he was funny and joking, whatever. And then, like, if he had a bad day, it was like, everyone shut the fuck up, you know? But with that being said, I grew up well-mannered, well-spoken, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, you know? And some kids didn't have that or don't have that. And some adults,
kids didn't even have a dad there.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm grateful now that I had a lot of things that some people didn't have. And then when I started to find drugs, you know, I smoked cigarettes in 4th grade with this kid in the neighborhood who was a little older.
I was chain smoking them with my uncle's packs, but we weren't even inhaling them. Yeah,
I smoked cigarettes for like a month before I knew how to inhale,
right.
You know? And then I smoked weed in 5th grade. And, you know, when I played football, I couldn't remember anyone on the team, or I couldn't remember a pass or a play. When I smoked weed and the guy was like, hey, this is an eighth. This is, you know, 3.5 grams. I was like, got that? You know?
I know how much that is.
How much? So
my son asked me now. He's in school. He's like, Dad, like for one of the construction class, how do you remember halves and eighths and quarters? I'm like, well, son.
Yeah, I know pounds too. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I remembered that. And when he told me like, hey man, you know, this is eye drops and Visine, or this is how you break it up, or this is how you roll, you know, I cared enough to remember, and I cared enough to go home and look up online, and I got into it. And when I started smoking weed, those kids who used to make fun of me were like, hey, man, can I get some? You know, like now I was the man. And by 7th grade, bro, I thought I was Pablo Escobar. In 7th grade, bro, I was
slinging quarters and ounces.
No. Lying and saying I was slinging quarters and QPs, but I was probably slinging eighths. But in my mind, I was slinging a lot more. Yeah, I was Pablo.
Scarface.
Yeah, maybe I would get a quarter every once in a while, you know. And but in my mind, dude, and then I started watching all those movies. I'm obsessed with film, so I watch a lot of movies. And dude, Paid in Full, you know, Scarface, obviously, and then like, dude, I would watch all the Mafia movies. I read all the Mario Puzo books, you know, Lorenzo Cacatera, and all these, like, you know, I just really started to think I was thugged out, gangster, and it's like,
I'd say you become what you see, you know, it's like that's the goal. That's what we looked up to. It was like the 50 Cent song came on, like I'm in the club, you know, G-Unit T-shirts. I can identify with the South Florida soul.
I was in recess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and then I started to use, and I became the man. Dude, all the girl, dude, I used to go to school fresh as fuck. I used to go to school. I had a gold chain on when I was in school. I had a gold bracelet on. I had $200 in my pocket. I used to go to school with an eighth on me, and I would serve up little jits, $5 bags. And then I'd be selling weed to the seniors in high school. And I started driving. I stole my mom's car for the first time, probably when I was like 11.
Wow.
And I got good at driving.
Yeah.
I taught myself how to drive. I learned the highways. My older friends were all teaching me, and they had older brothers.
I hung out with a lot of older people too.
Most of us did. And then, seventh grade, I really think of it as like my college. Parties, keggers, girls, hanging out with older people, a fake ID to go to an all-age club or whatever, pretending like I'm 18 or something,
Yeah.
And then when I got arrested for the first time, I had to pee in a cup. And when I started peeing in a cup, I couldn't smoke anymore. And then that's when I started to experiment with coke. And then in seventh grade, I became a total cokehead. What happened to me with weed happened to me with coke. I instantly was like looking up who George Jung was.
Yeah.
The Ochoa brothers, like all these cartel people.
Putting the posters on the wall and like just Tupac on it.
Dude, Young Jeezy came out with Trap or Die. I was like, I was like, I would cut a fucking 8-ball of coke with Advil and I'd think I'm fucking Jeezy or something, And dude, I just started selling coke, and then even my thugged out gangster friends that were cool with me before, even they started distancing distancing themselves from me, and were like, yo, this kid's getting a little too out of control.
Right.
And then I found other friends that were cool with it, and they were a little older than those people. And then I'm selling to people in college and whatever. And then it progressed and it progressed and it progressed. And then got kicked out of school. I would get like a little petty arrest. And then that's when me and my father really started to bump heads. And I think my father was a good man doing his best. And I think my addiction brought out like an evil person in him.
Yeah.
Because dude, my father was
I brought that out in all of my family. Like you bring out a different, yeah.
Because it brought it out in me, but it also people don't realize that it's a family disease. And I didn't realize that till later, but my addiction affected my dad, where it brought out the worst in him, bro. Because my dad is like, hey, I'm going to give you a second chance. Hey, I'm going to give you a second chance. And then, after a while, fucking he has his limit too. And
ran out of them.
Bro, my father would say things to me that I wouldn't say to a dog,
Yeah.
And my father never hit me, but dude, he had a way of instilling fear into me and intimidation. And, I remember, 7th, 8th grade, I hated my dad so much. I would say, God, if you're real, I hope you kill that man. I hated him, dude. Dude, when he would walk into the house, every cell of my body would tense up.
You think that was part of the drugs or part of being caught up in addiction, or was that kind of built over time because of him trying to keep you accountable? Or
so I think that when I would get in trouble, my father would scream, yell, say crazy things, break everything I own.
React out of emotion.
React with a lot of anger and breaking things and calling me, a fucking loser, piece of shit. And then a couple of days later, he would cool it and then fucking think that we were cool again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell no.
Dude, you don't remember what you just said to me? And as kids too, you hold on to that.
My father would get drunk with anger. So my father would get drunk off his emotion and his anger, and he would say and do things that he would probably forget, And I would pinky promise never to do it again, swear I would never do it again. And then a week later, I'd be doing it again. And then he would fucking lose his shit. And it was this cycle. And then I started to convince myself that I'm using because he pushes me to use.
That was your excuse or your justification.
For sure. And then, me and my father did a blood oath once.
Really?
So I remember I was probably in 8th grade.
It's the cut and shake hands.
And my dad was like, dude, he had caught me. I bought crack, and this is 9th grade. I had already graduated to crack, and I bought 7 blues, and I took his ATM card and I fucking took out $140 and I bought blues and I bought crack, and I had already smoked a crack. I did 2 blues and I had a couple blues left. And in the morning, I could tell he was really pissed because he wasn't yelling. It was a different type of pissed. It was just
that's the part with addiction too, is when you do stuff you're going to get caught, But
For
it's just a
sure.
matter of when you get caught. You're
Bro,
like,
there was 100 times that I snuck out, took my dad's car, and took money from his debit card, and every time I'd be like, "This is the he's gonna find out now." And honestly, out of
But
100,
that's-
he found out like 5 times. You know,
really?
Yeah, bro. I don't know if he like never checked his bank account or what, but dude, there was times where I was like, "This is it. This is the end." And then I would talk my way out of shit, and I would be like, "Dude, I can't believe that worked." You
Yeah.
know, and then like it just went on like that for a while. But I remember he had caught me, and I had fessed up that I was using, and I gave him the last pills that I had, and we flushed it down the toilet together. We hugged. I probably fake cried or something, you know. And then we did a contract saying that I would never do drugs again. I'd do good in school and all this stuff. And then he pulled out a box cutter, and dude, he like cut his thumb, and he like put it on a piece of paper.
No
He signed
way.
it, and then he gave it to me, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." And I fucking slit my thumb, and blood signed it. And dude, my father handed me $100 bill and the keys to his car, and he said, "Go be a kid. Go to the mall. Go have
Oh my
fun or
God.
something." And I swear to God, I got in the car and I called my boy. I was like, "Yo, let's go cop." And I went to go cop, and I came back home like at 8 o'clock at night. This is like in the morning, like
Right.
9 in the morning, you know. And I come home late at night, and my dad was like, "Where the fuck were you?" And I was like, "Oh, me and Carrie went golfing." And he was just like, he just looked at me, and he just walked back
Yeah.
inside, and then he slid his copy. I still have it. He slid his copy.
No way.
He slid his copy under the door, and he said, "Your Honor, where is it?" And that was the beginning of him turning off any type of hope that I would change. And then as the years went on, it was more of like him telling my mom, like, "He's yours now, you deal with it."
Yeah.
You know. And then, you know, it
Wrote you off.
yeah. And like, you know what, as an adult, dude, my dad, I just celebrated 18 years clean, and my dad called me.
Congrats, man. That's
Hey,
big.
thank you, bro. I
Real
appreciate it.
big.
Thank you, bro. And my dad called me crying, and my dad does Uber now, you know. And my dad was like, "Man, I just dropped off this lady, and she was telling me that her son's an addict, and he can't stop using." And he's like, "I was so excited to tell her about you, and I
Wow.
talked about you the whole time, and I told her I totally gave up, so
Yeah.
don't give up," because I was like, "Hell no." And he was like, "Dude, I told my wife you're wasting your time," and he's like, and you know, as an adult, because sometimes I feel like, man, my dad gave up on me, but something in you is like, no, my dad would never give up on me. So to hear that, even as, you know, at 35 years old, because to me, it's like, dude, I wasn't 30, I was 15, you know, like you gave up on me at 15, but that goes to show that's how much I had hurt him.
Yeah.
Because really, your parents giving up on you for my dad is like, I'm not gonna try with you anymore because I keep getting built up and let down, and I keep trying to help. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, if you want to help an addict, you don't hand him $100 and tell him to go have fun. You know?
He really thought that you were gonna go be a kid.
Yeah,
In his mind,
in
he's like,
his
we just did a
mind-
blood oath. Like,
Yeah, in
he
his
can't-
mind,
yeah,
yeah.
like, but
But like, dude, I have a lot of experience helping addicts. I would have been like, dude, you might as well have given
call
him
the dope
drugs.
man, tell him to come over. Like, just
Exactly,
Skip
exactly.
the whole car thing. Save some gas money.
For sure, dude. And you know, that the next 3 years of my life was opiate addiction, crack, getting kicked out of school, and then my dad had changed all of his like ATM PIN codes, and I was left to robbing drug dealers, pawning everything,
Yep.
breaking into houses, breaking into cars, petty crackhead little crimes, check fraud, and just like stealing from Home Depot and fucking returning bullshit at Publix, and like literally my whole life
Was that kind of like the pill mill era?
yeah. I was getting Oxy 80s for $20, and I was getting Roxy 30s for $7, you know. And
In South Florida, man, there was some people would come from all over the whole United States to come to Florida.
you would go to the prescription offices, whatever, and the whole parking lot would be like Alabama, Kentucky,
Yeah.
you know, New Jersey, whatever. So it's like everyone
You could hit
was coming
4
here.
on the whole strip right here in Port
Yeah,
St. Lucie,
yeah.
and they're, you know,
Yeah.
Roxy's,
Mhm.
150 Xanaxes, and some Somas for breakthrough pain, and all 4 of them were giving you the same thing. And you'd leave there with them. They'd have them in the
Yeah.
office, and like, yeah.
Dude, I remember I remember I went to a trailer park and they were doing it out of a trailer,
Wow.
you know, with the MRI, I remember, and dude, I was underage. I couldn't even legally I was like, I can't wait to be 18 so I could get on methadone and Roxy's and get a script. I was like,
It was a different world then. Like even like those crimes you talked about, like that was kind of like the beginning stages of people just like walking into Home Depot and just leaving with a cart full of shit.
oh, for sure. We thought we were fucking God. I thought I invented and it's like, dude, I have friends that were like, dude, I have friends that I've gotten clean with that I was like, dude, you guys like we're doing real fraud, So yeah, I mean it's crazy back in the day what we used to get away with, and then like, dude, even later on, people got onto the dark web and all kinds of shit. So it's like the drug game,
and
all types of stuff.
Yeah.
I have friends that were like, dude, I'd have 20 Bitcoin if I didn't buy fucking crystal meth.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I eventually my last couple years using, I was dope sick more than I was high. And I remember, like, dude, I would be sick for 4 days out the week, bro, shitting and vomiting and being dope sick and going to school covered in sweat and just not knowing what to do. And then I would bust a lick. I'd come up on like $200 and I'd say, this is going to last a week. And then I'd be done with all of them in the morning.
Yep.
And then I remember going to go cop pills, being so sick. And I'd be at a corner with $60 and this dude would come up with crack. And I'd be like, fuck. And then I'd buy crack and then I'd go home still sick,
Yeah.
And then it's like, I wasn't the worst drug addict in the world, but there are very few 17-year-olds in America that were worse than I was. I'm one of the worst cases.
One of the higher percentile 17-year-old.
Adolescent drug addiction, because I was smoking crack and doing pills at 14.
Yeah.
So at 14, I was already smoking crack and snorting Oxy 80s on a regular basis. So it's like, I've never even heard that before, even now.
Yeah, no.
I've never even.
I've even worked in the recovery scene too, and it's not too many.
No, because you would have kids that they're doing MDMA or they're doing Molly or whatever, and like they might have tried coke a couple of times, but they're not like waking up to an 8-ball in 7th grade every 3 days, And I only share that because it sounds so bizarre now that I'm an adult and I have friends who have kids. Like, bro, one of my godson is 14.
Yeah.
And dude, this kid is like prays before he goes to bed. Like, doesn't tell a lie. I couldn't even imagine. He wouldn't even drink a Red Bull.
Wow.
Like, my best friend has energy drinks in the fridge, and I was like, does Jude ever drink that? He was like, no.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, when I was like in kindergarten, I remember wondering what alcohol tastes like. And I remember being in kindergarten and stealing a shot and drinking a shot. And nobody put a gun. That's why I said I'm born an addict, because no one told me to do that. It's not like I was doing that for attention.
Yeah, I can identify with
I remember
that
being
time.
at a family party and drinking alcohol, and no one convinced me. Like, I didn't need convincing.
I mean, I had the other, like the cousins, and like
Mm-hmm.
there was a keg, like, they were a little older, and I'm the kid that was like ended up so drunk that I'm pissing in the middle of the street, like at 7 years old, like, but I can identify with that for sure.
And then, for me, I just got sick and tired of being literally sick and tired. And I ended up going to a detox, and then I read this book by Anthony Kiedis called Scar Tissue. That's why telling your story is so important, bro. I don't even know if I would have even knew to get clean if I hadn't read this book. I read this book by Anthony Kiedis, who's the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the whole book he talked about he couldn't stay clean for years, and then even when he got clean, he was just abstinent, and he never changed as a person. He was just a sober dickhead, and then he talked about how he relapsed anyways, and then he finally got clean. And at the end of the book, he says, the only reason why I'm clean today is because I got a commitment to pick up the chairs after an AA meeting.
Wow.
And that he said, dude, I've gone to Eric Clapton's rehab in Antigua multiple times, been to multiple treatment centers, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on luxury high-end treatment, and I would AMA the next day. And the only reason why I'm clean today is because I went to a free 12-step meeting and said, hey, I'm going to pick up the chairs. And he's like, for whatever reason, when I wanted to get high the next day, something in me was like, you can't let down the people at the meeting. You got to set up the chairs. And this is a guy with all the resources, all the money. And dude, I closed the book and he was like, I got 30 years clean or 20 years clean. And I'm like, well, I guess I got to go to meetings.
Yeah.
And then I literally went home, looked up a meeting, and said, Mom, I got to go here. And my mom dropped me off. And, bro, I've not left 12-step meetings since. And I've been
How old were you?
17 years old.
Wow.
As a kid.
I entered young too, but I didn't stay clean for me. But the impactful things, like you remembering that book, those were things that stuck with me with these guys from early on. Like the seed was planted. Like they were like these were old school. That was back when they used to smoke cigarettes in the meetings with the little Burger King ashtrays and shit. And it was those things stuck with me, later on in life. And I got clean at 21.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, even a couple of years clean or something is still something that you have forever. You know what I mean? So it's like your clean time never really disappears. It's like that there is a way, and it's a night and day difference from somebody who's using right now in a square mile radius of where we're sitting right now, and they don't even know that that's possible.
Yeah,
like bro, I remember being dope sick on the way to go cop, and my only dream in life was like, I got to get on methadone. Like, that's all, because dude, I remember just thinking, like, dude.
The methadone's the worst one to be on.
But I remember because I remember taking methadone.
Yeah.
And, dude, I remember the first time I took methadone, I think I was 17, maybe 16, and I was super dope sick, like day 4 of being dope sick. And I didn't want methadone because I'd never done it before. I didn't want to waste my money. And I only had like $20. And my friend was like, bro, come here. I'll give you methadone. And I'm like, dude, I don't want it. Like, I want pills. And he was like, dude, you're going to be fine.
It's like Suboxone now.
Yeah, it's like Suboxone.
I don't want Suboxone.
I want like something real.
Yeah.
And then I remember I took it, and dude, as soon as I did methadone, I remember I felt so good the next morning, and it was like God put his hand on me and was like, it's okay, buddy. You're going to be able to take this forever one day.
Wow.
And that's how I felt, like, oh man, well, at least I could get on methadone when I turn 18. And like, I remember like feeling like,
that was like your goal. Instead of going to college or whatever, it was like, I'm going to be on methadone in
I remember
a year.
being on school and being like, man, maybe if I got on methadone, I could have a job at, like, dude, I remember my one friend,
Wow.
he was a bus boy at Outback. And dude, I remember, like, he used to, like, make fun of me because my life was so fucked up. He's like, bro, I bus at Outback. And I'll be like, damn, bro,
I wish one day.
Yeah,
I could
bro, I
be
remember
there.
being like, damn. And he was on Suboxone.
Wow.
And I remember being like, fuck, dude, if I could get on that stuff, I could get a job at Outback. And it's like, that to me was as big as the world could be. Like, I had another friend who had a forklift job. And I was like, and not to say that a forklift job is whatever, but I was so addicted to opiates with such little money that I was so sick, I couldn't even imagine going to work because I'm sick and shitting myself through 4 days out the week. And I was like, man, if I could just get on and the thing is, I couldn't even get on it because I was underage.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, dude, I can't even get on these drugs.
We can't give you Suboxone.
Yeah, you're 12. Your parents got to come in here. And I had friends who would, to me, living it up. They had a script for Oxys, Roxys, Somas, Methadone, Suboxone. And I'd be like, damn, bro, like, I'm over here fucking trying to pawn a generator on a Monday morning. I remember being at a pawn shop on a Monday trying to pawn a generator, and they ask you for your ID, and them being like, bro, you're 15? Like, get the fuck out of here, bro, And
Did they let you?
No. Other places would, but
Like
this
the
one...
pawn or the scrapyard or whatever? Like
Other places would.
Yeah.
Other places wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I would steal
Money's money. They already know what you're doing with it. Most of the pawn shops.
And I don't even think they would look at my age a lot of times. I think they were just like, hey, you have ID, and they wouldn't really look at the date of birth.
Just to make sure that where they can find
But
you.
I remember this one guy, he looked at me, and when he noticed that I was 15, he could tell that I was on drugs. And I remember he was like, bro, get out of here. Like he didn't, like he couldn't morally.
He already knew.
Yeah, But bro, I remember fucking stealing something a mile away from the pawn shop, putting my fingerprint on it, like just not caring. But when I started to go to meetings, bro, it was like being on the Truman Show and fucking riding that little boat to the end of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And being like, oh shit.
Dink.
And there's like I thought this was the world. And it's like, dude, it felt like that's how, because bro, I had never met one clean person in my fucking life. I've never even heard of it. I've never been smoking crack and someone's like, you heard about Billy? He's clean now. Yeah. It was like, you heard about Billy? He fucking killed himself. Yeah. Oh, you heard about Billy? He's in prison. Yeah. Oh, you heard about Billy? He got arrested. He got 3 years, or something, or he got caught with a gun and crack. He's fucked. You know, like it was never, oh yeah, he got clean. And we're not even talking about being successful, just clean. Yeah. If you would have said, yo, Billy's clean and he got a job at Outback, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you know? And then you go to a meeting and you meet hundreds of people sitting next to you that, dude, I'm a really good liar. Yeah. I could tell when a motherfucker's lying.
100%. You can't dope fiend a dope fiend.
I would go to meetings and be like, I don't know, bro. That guy fucking sounded like he was fucking the real deal, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember going to some of my first meetings and people would be like, look at my arms. I still got track marks that will never go away. I've been shooting dope and coke for 20 years, talking about being in and out of prisons, being stabbed, being in gangs. And they would have scars on their face, women talking about prostituting themselves, people talking about how they gave up their kids and using in the car with their kids and getting their kids taken away, and men talking about selling their bodies. Like, I don't think they're making that up to sound cool, you know? So I would be in the meetings and be like, no fucking way. Yeah. And it was like, it was almost overwhelming, you know? And some people go to meetings and they're skeptical. I think I was so desperate, I couldn't afford to be skeptical because I needed this to work. Because I was so desperate, I couldn't think like, oh, what is this? Like, imagine you being stranded out at sea and a boat comes and you're like, I don't know, who else is there with you? You know what I mean? I was like, bro, let me on.
You ever hear that story about like where somebody's on a stranded island or whatever and they're praying, they're like, oh, God, please send somebody to help me. And this boat comes by. And he's like, no, don't worry. God's sending somebody to help me. And like three more boats came by, and he's like, no, God's sending somebody.
And he goes to heaven, and he's like, God, where were you at? I sent you 3 boats, you idiot.
Mm-hmm. And, but no, yeah, that's, the recovery. I feel like for me, I worked the 12 steps. I worked 12 steps with sponsees. I worked them with a sponsor, and that's what I remember from early recovery. Is like they told you, hey, 90 meetings in 90 days, get a sponsor, get a commitment, making coffee. Like I would make coffee in there, dude, that you could stand a spoon up in the cup. Mm-hmm. Like it was like the super dope coffee. And I listened to what they told me to do. So, like if this worked for this guy, like let me listen and do what he says. And old school NA guys were like, if you ask them to be your sponsor, it was like, hey, call me every day for 90 days. And if you mess up, you got to start over.
Yeah.
So it
had
it took me like,
say if you mess up, get someone else to sponsor you.
Really?
Yeah.
And it took 6 months for me to call the guy every day for 90 days. Yeah. But, it was showing that, you wanted it. And I feel like that if the world worked the 12 steps, it would be a different place.
For sure, bro. The 12-step program is one of the greatest inventions of the 19th century. It is a phenomenon. It is something that, like, even my pastor has gone to meetings and has been like, man, I think we got it wrong. And
that's biblical. The steps come from the Bible.
For sure, they come from Matthews. But it's like, but the way that the program is set up in such a like a church is trying to get money for that church, and they're trying to grow that church. Recovery groups aren't trying to grow a group. They're not trying to get bigger. They're just trying to carry the message. And if you can start your own group, we're going to help you start your own group over there. And it's like, we're not trying to grow a big infrastructure and then have like a $10 million reserve. And then, it is so unnatural that it's this inverted pyramid of the more you give, the more you get. And it really is functional on a global scale. You're going to tell me that you could go to a meeting in Africa right now, and it is the same thing than if you go to a meeting here and there's no person in charge. There's like,
that was the coolest part for
me.
Like
the way that it like operates is unlike any
you
nonprofit.
Travel, it was the same thing.
And it's just, and there's no
a bunch of dope fiends put it
guy.
Together.
There's no head guy. There's no like, there's an area service and then whatever, but they really are to serve it is incredible that it's remained free and just pretty much untouched for all these years. And so much change in the world has happened. Like, dude, that's why, like, for me, like, I go to meetings all the time. I'm very hardcore 12-step guy. And I've gone to other places. And it just makes me more grateful for 12-step programs, And I know that, like, not everyone's going to be like a gun-ho recovery guy or for the rest of their life. But I truly believe like I am, you know, like I've
Are
always
you sponsoring guys?
yeah, I got sponsees. I still go to meetings. I had an H&I commitment for like 16 years, and I dropped it because I was traveling a lot. I just spoke at an NA convention. They asked me to be like a main speaker at a convention. So I still very much plugged into meetings and stuff like that. And I truly believe that when I go to meetings and I have a sponsor, I work steps, that I'm my highest version of myself.
Yes.
And there's times in recovery where I've been suicidal, depressed, or whatever, and I'm like, dude, if I wasn't at this meeting, I don't know where I would be right now, you know, or calling my sponsor or my friends in recovery. And some people leave the program and they go on to do great things, and most of them don't. But some people do. And I just believe that, like, dude, I'm not willing to take that gamble.
Right.
And I feel so in debt.
Well, you know it works too, and you're connected.
And I feel so like indebted. If God came down today and was like, "Hey, you can drink and use successfully," I would be like, "Thanks, bro, but I still have to go to these meetings," you know. And I just feel like I really am like what's it called? Like a rescue dog, you know, where like, dude, I'm obedient to my owner.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, I was lost and had nothing and was scared of people and all this stuff. And you know when people say like, oh, like be careful, he's a rescue. And it's like, you know, I'm not all there yet, you know. People are like,
he might bite you.
Does he bite?
I don't know.
He don't bite me. He don't bite me.
Just don't scratch his left ear.
Yeah.
We don't.
So it's like, you know, I'm not all well there either. So it's like, dude, I know where I'm safe at, and I got my people.
Yeah.
And man, I'm just like, I'm grateful, bro, because I really do pinch myself every day, and I'm like, damn, dude, I cannot believe.
So you're mainly what, NA or AA?
Hardcore NA guy.
NA. All right.
Yeah.
Still go to meetings regularly.
All the time. Yeah.
So 18 years, still doing what worked in the beginning.
I've never not gone to meetings.
Nice.
You know, I just got a guy and he's in my industry now, and man, I cannot, dude. I've bought in Rolls Royces, Ferraris. I've had multiple fivesomes with women. Like I've done things on the planet that most people will never experience. And the feeling I got yesterday from a kid who I've seen use for years, who I've tried to get to go to meetings for years, and I recently got him to go to meetings, and I've been going to meetings with him for the last 2 weeks, and I can just see his like eyes start to glow. And last night he sent me a voice note that said, "Bro, I can't explain how good I feel when I leave a meeting. This is the best thing I've ever done. I'm really locked in right now, and I just want to say thank you."
Wow.
I promise you, getting that voice note last night is true fulfillment. And a lot of
No
people,
money can buy that.
no, and like no experience can, like when you feel like you made a difference in someone's life and it's built off the pain of yours. Because, bro, when you're dope sick at 15 years old and everyone else is going to parties or hanging out with their friends on the beach and
Going
they're
to the
thinking
mall.
or the mall or have a job. I remember being sitting on the floor at Publix, and I had shit in my underwear because I had shit myself because I was so sick. The kid I was driving with to go cop literally told me to get out of his car because he could smell it. He kicked me out of his car. I went to Publix. I sat on the corner, and there was this girl that I went to high school with, and she was pushing a shopping cart, and she worked at the Publix. And I remember just being like, bro, this is my life, and this is her life.
Yeah.
You know?
Two same kids, same block,
Same neighborhood,
Yeah.
everything, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking sick, shit in my underwear, dope sick.
Just got kicked out of a car.
Got kicked. Another crackhead said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Kicked me out of his car. Said, "Give me your money. I'm going to go get the pills, and I'll bring them to you here.
Wow.
Go fucking wipe your ass."
Hang out.
Yeah. And I remember sitting there smoking a fucking cigarette and being like, dude, why me, God?
Yeah.
You know? And it's like when you're able to bundle up your pain and use it as something useful to help someone else. Because, bro, even with Years Clean, when I take him to a meeting, I can tell like he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know if he really belongs here. He's not really sure if he's an addict, and I don't know if he's locked in or not. I'm trying to like feed him the Kool-Aid, you know. I'm trying to tell him everything that someone ever told me. I'm just wishing that he's gonna get it. And you know what? I've taken people to meetings before, and they're like, "Nah, it's not for me," or you know, I'll go tomorrow. Oh, you know, I can't go tonight. He's been going. He's been going every single night, and without me, like we went to a bunch together, and he's going on his own now. He's getting phone
Once
numbers.
you figure out like where everything's at, and
Yeah,
that's how.
And for him to send me that voice note where he's like, "Dude, I love these meetings, and I feel like this is what I want to do, and I'm locked into sponsorship," and like he was asking me about step work, and like, dude, I'm telling you, like I swear on my mom's life, that is the best feeling in the world.
What would you say to somebody like that? Like that's maybe they're listening right now. They're going through like kind of like that same thing. Maybe your friend was going through. Like, what would you say to the early stages?
I always tell people, man, nobody regrets getting clean. Nobody will ever in the history of life say, "Man, I was clean for 5 years." Total waste of time. You're never going to regret getting clean. You're only going to regret not starting sooner. That's the only two guarantees. But when you get clean, I don't care if your job is to rob banks. If you get clean, you're going to be the best fucking bank robber on the fucking planet, you know?
Well, we're built like that, man. We're addicts and when
For sure. Bro, when we get clean, we fucking leap over buildings, bro.
Yeah.
It's like we accomplish more in 5 years than people do in their whole life clean. Our problem is that we actually accomplish too much and we put it ahead of everything else. We're actually too good at life, you know? We're actually like, bro, I've seen people get 90 days clean and they got a girlfriend, a car, and a job, you know?
People used to tell me that. They were like, "Johnny, how do you always come out of the gutter with like a great job, like a company truck, like just you dope fiend your way into it?" I call it dope fiending, but it's like the reality is just like all of us are extraordinary people, man. There's usually like artists and things, you know, just people that were good at stuff that creative minds. You know, if you take half of the energy that you put into the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more into positive things, like you said, man, if I did this in 5 years, imagine what's going to happen in 10, you know, and, you know, you're an image of that. So,
and for me, like I always tell, like the thing is that like life is going to get good. And I think that your first year clean, people are going to use because times get bad. After a year, you're going to use because it got good. But it's really only going to get good. And really the only reason why anyone ever uses is because something else becomes a priority. And as long as this is a priority and you put this first, like my first 5 years clean, I was dead broke. 5 years clean, making less than $12 an hour. I was young, but still I had friends making $1,000 a week doing moving. Back in the day, like moving was like the big thing, you know? And bro, everyone was,
there's two things I hate in life: painting and moving. That's like if I could hire somebody to do it every time.
Well, they were doing the moving phone sales.
Oh, okay.
So they were doing the phone sales moving. And like, dude, I worked at I did phone sales, telemarketing when I was 14.
We had one of those here. It was I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
Old Walmart. They turned it into a call center.
Yeah. So, dude, I did call center my whole life. So it's like I've always been a call center. I've always been well-spoken. I've always had the gift of gab. I knew I could go make $1,000 a week if these knuckleheads were. But, dude, I was scared to make money.
Stayed humble.
Dude, I remember getting my paycheck from the mall because I worked at like a clothing store at the mall. And I remember getting my $200 check. And I would call my sponsor and be like, "Hey, I just got my check." He'd be like, "Okay." I'm just letting you know. Like, dude, I was scared to have money on me because I didn't see $200.
So you call it that? I mean, would you say that was accountability? Obviously, you have your sponsor, but
for sure, accountability. And I think that for the first time in my life, I had the humility to say I can't handle money right now. I knew myself, you know, like I knew.
But you still kept it for yourself. You were just like kind of like saying, "Hey, I got $200." Like,
yeah,
just so you know.
I knew that, like, dude, I shouldn't have more. You know, gotcha. I remember like declining money for the first time in my life. Who the fuck declines money?
Yeah.
You know, I remember I had a year clean, and for no reason, my dad handed me like $100 bill, and I was like, "What? I don't want that." And he was like, "When the fuck has this kid ever said I don't want?"
To $100.
And he was just kind of like, you know, I had just got a year clean. He was just kind of being nice. I don't know. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I had turned into a man where I believe like a man doesn't take anything. You know, like you learn that in prison. Like somebody gives you something ain't for free. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had learned this. I I had learned the 7 tradition where it's like, I'm not a punk. I ain't taking $100 from you, you know? And I don't even need it for something. Like if I needed it for something, maybe. But at that time, I already had a little job. I had enough for cigarettes. And bro, dude, I remember having 3 years clean, and every Friday I would eat vending machine food because I wouldn't get my check till that Friday. And I'd be so broke that I would only have like a dollar and like 50 cents. And I'd be eating honey buns and I was happy as fuck. Yeah. So I was so happy. Bro, I used to make $12 an hour and drive home like I fucking won the lottery.
Yeah.
I remember being like, I got a fucking job.
And a car.
And
I can put gas in it.
Bro, the first time I filled my gas up all the way, I cried. And I did it by accident.
Really?
I had never.
You left the thing in there.
Yeah, I hadn't filled my gas up all the way till I had like 3 years clean. Not because I didn't, because I was such a crackhead. I was like, let me just put $10 in this bitch. You know?
Yeah, that's all you knew.
That's all I knew.
Same. Yeah,
bro, I filled it up all the way, and when I
didn't know you could put your card in there and like fill it up. I had to like go inside and tell them, hey, $10 on the card, bro, on pump 6.
Yeah.
Like, don't go penny over.
Yeah. And bro, I remember I cried. I cried because I was like, I had never.
So what I hear is just humility, man. I mean, like the first 5 years of just humbling yourself. I mean, and that's what the program asks. And you were raised in the rooms. Like it's not, you know, obviously you had your dad, So I can ID with that big time because like most of the character that was built for me whenever I was younger was from the rooms, the people that I met in there. And like you said, there are these people that were in and out of prison shooting dope for years. And it's like, develop a character of like, and they're good people with good hearts.
The people I looked up to weren't rich. And that's what I always tell people. Cause like, dude, I have a lot of rich friends now. Most of my rich friends, I looked up to them before they were rich. Yeah. They had the character before they had the money. 100%. And then they just applied that to the money and they got the money. But like, dude, my best friend today just bought an Aventador S. He has an F8. We both are balling. Like, you know, and you could say, oh, you're not that rich. To us, we're like fucking, we're balling, you know? Like, we still are like, dude,
I was balling when I got the Hyundai Palisade. Like, I was like, this thing's got leather in it. Like, my first car was a $6,000 Honda Pilot with 259,000 miles on it. I had a 350 credit score, and I didn't know you could get it that low. And you know, it ended up being like a $15,000 loan on this $5,000 car, and happiest I've ever been in my life. It was like a junk. My wife took pictures of me. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. I'm like smiling in front of this thing, but humble, like driving to and from work, just living the dream, brother.
And I see people miserable now. And it's like, dude, oh, I don't make a lot of money. And they're asking me questions about money. And I'm like, dude, you see me and my buddy over here bro, he's got 20 years clean. And it's like, bro, I promise you, 15 years ago, me and him were both broke, happy as fuck. Yes. We thought we were rich then. I thought I was rich. Yeah. Dude, I remember I got a financial aid? Oh, yeah. I got a financial aid check. And for the first time in my life, I got a comma in my bank account. I had never had a comma in my bank account. And I remember being like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
and it wasn't even your money. Well,
yeah,
you got to pay it back. Or
yeah. And it's like, dude, I felt rich then. It's like, dude, I remember having money for Newports and cigarettes. And bro, I was so happy to be clean. So it's like, people, like, I promise you, swear on my mom's life, I was happier when I didn't have money.
Yeah.
I really was.
It complicates it a little bit. I mean, you know.
It's kind of like, it's like, bro, you're probably happier when you didn't have kids, but you're never going to give your kids up.
Yeah.
Because you have so much responsibility, you don't have time to really be like checking all the boxes to be happy.
Right.
But you're doing things that you need to do. And I believe like as a man, that's kind of what you mature into is like, it's not like being happy all the time is kind of like a little kid.
It's like
thing.
Once you know you can't go back to not knowing.
Yeah. And it's like you have responsibilities and you have things to accomplish. Like if I'm running a marathon, I'm not going to be happy running the marathon because I have to,
prep
a lot of all this shit,
Yeah.
But this is what I want to do in life. And as you get older, it's about accomplishing your dreams and goals and being of service to people less than it is about keeping yourself happy. I tell people all the time, bro, if you want to be happy, get a safe job and save 20% of your money and put it in the S&P and then retire.
Right.
And that is like, that will work for everybody.
You still got to have fun in life too. I mean, that's what I tell people too. And being clean and sober, you can still have fun. I go hang out, man. Like I watch people be stupid and like, you know, tell them the next day what they did. And it's like, I still have just as much fun as everybody else that's hanging out. Not that I go out all the time, but.
Yeah, I probably go to like a club 10 times a year or something,
right.
You know? But I don't know. Like to me, it's not even like people are always like, oh man, it's so crazy. You like lived this whole time without drinking or whatever. And it's like, dude, I've only been drunk like 7 times. I smoke crack.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As
soon as I crack open the alcohol, I can feel the crack.
Yeah.
You know, like
as soon as man's phone numbers and bottom of my beer.
So it's like I never use social, and for some people that might be difficult for them. I never socially used. I never partied.
Always like a big deal too. I feel like too when you tell someone that you don't drink, because then they're like, "Well, what do you mean? What do you know like?" And of course, it always goes to that. So I make a joke or whatever, and it's like, well, and then I get sarcastic sometimes, like, well, because I don't, you know, who wants to continue to put poison in their body? You know? And it's true. Like, I'd rather drink this water. I'll be okay. Like.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I don't know. And like also with my dude, I have so much fun. Like sometimes I'm like, dude, I have too much fun. You know, like I have so much fun, and like, dude, I'm obsessed with my cars and like what I do for work. And it's like and like it wasn't always like that. Like I also had built 10 years of grinding of like not fun, you know, of like waking up at dude. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. every single day for like 14 years, you know, and worked 24/7 and got a million phone calls and had no social media. And dude, I remember the first time I bought an exotic car, didn't post it, you know, and it's like, dude, I have years of and people see me now, bro, and on social media, like my social media is not who I am, bro. Like on what I do on social media is like, I'm a clown, I'm promoting nonsense. It's fun. I'm joking around and whatever. Like who I am as a person is not what you see on social media. And there was a time where it was the opposite,
right?
Where it's like my social media was like super serious and like it was basic and whatever. And I was having a ton of fun in my personal life, you know? And it's like, I don't know. For me, if someone was to ask me like who I am and what I am, is like, bro, I'm a recovering addict first and foremost. Through and through of everything, you know, and everything else is fun, and that's it. And that's as far as the money, the girls, like all that stuff. To me, that's just like a stupid hobby,
icing on the cake.
Yeah, bro, it really is not my life, you know.
So the passion that you have for obviously being in recovery, you know, you said it earlier, you can't keep it without giving it away. Talk about that for a minute too, because.
So I mean. The guy who invented the 12-step program invented this thing where it's like, well, if you just help another drunk, you'll forget that you're drunk. You know? And it's like, it was
what a concept.
It was so bizarre because it would be because innately you're like, dude, you're trying to get sober. Stay away from these fucking people. And it would be like, you don't need to be helping nobody. You got a day sober. But back then, it was like, man, if you got 2 days, you could teach the guy with a day how 100%. To get 2 days. And bro, they built a fucking.
Well, that was early on NA. Like now, there's people in NA that are big clean time, 50 plus, sure, 60 years.
For sure.
Like,
but there was people, dude. People talk about it all the time. There was times where, like, bro, in Miami, in NA, there was no one in for a 50-mile radius of more than 5 years clean. You know, you would hear that someone had 2 years, and you'd be like, whoa, you know. So it's like, you know. The recovery program was really built on you need to help somebody else, and inadvertently it helps you, and it gets you out of yourself. And the disease core is selfishness. So that means that the opposite of that would be selflessness. So you're always combating the disease with whatever the opposite it is. So the opposite of that is go help people. And it's like, man, whenever I've done really well in business or I've accomplished a goal, I've gone out and done some type of service, or I've doubled down on something because I really do live by that like, man, if I'm getting a lot, I need to be given a lot. And I don't know. I like I said before, like when someone really comes up to you and is like, dude, I got clean because I heard what you said, or I saw you speak at a meeting, or you told me to come here at 10 o'clock and I'm here, and whatever, that really is the highest you can get in life. Like there's really nothing else you can do. Like,
Yeah.
Even in a biblical stance, think about Jesus. Like that's all he did.
Yeah.
Like all he did was that,
Served others, washed feet, and told everybody else to do it with him. Come follow me, and so.
And it's like you have one of the most revered human beings to ever live, or people believe that he's a god, and it's like all he did was preach, like help others, give, and talk about like basically not making any money, the opposite of what people do, and it's like you really have like a homeless man who just preached love, peace, and kindness, and
still found a way. Everywhere he went, he had a place to stay. It was like he put it, he just knew that things were going to be right. And
in a time where it was like all the figureheads of the world was like accumulate mass and get everyone to believe what we believe, and jewelry and all these things, and think about like crown of thorns, like his crown is a crown of thorns, and it's like people like think like I'm mocking Christianity because like what I do for work and stuff. Like, dude, I really do love the Bible, and I love the stories of Jesus, and I used to hate religion, and it's not that I'm a religious person, that I love the teachings of Jesus. Yeah. Like to me, when someone is like judging me, I'm like, that's not Jesus. You know what I mean? Like
how did you get into that?
So my best friend is a pastor. Not my best friend. One of my childhood friends is a pastor. And it's crazy, bro, because we lived 2 streets away from each other. And like, dude, he was into Christianity from like fucking 5th grade. You know? Like he was singing in the choir. Like
So you already knew he was like gonna be a pastor when he was like 7th grade. Like this. Like,
I wasn't even thinking that. I was like, he's just a nerd.
But the way he carried himself, like he was on the path.
He didn't want to curse. His parents didn't let him watch. We would go to his house. He didn't even have MTV at his house or BET. Like his parents didn't let him watch that. Like that's, and he was so solid then. Like back then, he was nerdy, but he was still cool because he just couldn't say nothing bad about the kid. Right. And then he went on to become this man and have a church. And I didn't like church, but I like this kid. I like Danny. Right. Like at the time, I don't believe in Jesus. I think it's all hocus pocus. I think it's cool, but I think it's like imaginary friend. And then I would always be like, oh, well, the church rapes kids and they do cover-ups and they do fraud. And I was always throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I didn't understand that there is a lot of gems and gold there too. And there's a lot of gold nuggets and there's a lot of knowledge. And I can look at anything and find something great. And honestly,
or you could look at anything and find something bad.
Horrible, for sure.
Yeah.
And I would always go to church and thinking all the things I didn't like. And my mom's really religious and my dad isn't. And my dad always like made fun of my mom for being religious and whatever. So I just thought like people who were religious were weird and it was like hocus pocus.
Obviously being in recovery, you're spiritual. Mm-hmm. So can differentiate that too, because that's kind of my background and like what I talk about.
So for me, I believe like I'm a spiritual person that is a fan of Christianity. Right. And sometimes I don't really say like I'm a Christian, but I really do love Christianity because I go to church more than I go anywhere else. And I know the Bible more than I know anything else. And for me, spirituality would be fitness and Christianity would be LA Fitness. Okay. You know what I mean? So it's like Christianity is the gym that you go to, and being in shape is just having a spiritual belief. So most people need a spiritual belief to start with, and then they start going to some type of facility where they have community and they have a certain type of way of doing things. Because if you go to a bodybuilding gym and you start doing some CrossFit shit, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? So it's the same concept where it's like, hey, we're not right, we're not wrong. But when we do fucking pull-ups, we swing our bodies, you know? And when we do pull-ups, we do not swing our bodies, you know? And Christianity and spirituality is the same thing, where it's like a level of fitness. And then you have, you know, I always tell people that for me, God is something that is so it is so big and meaningful that any type of word to describe it is nothing. Like the words that we're using to describe a God or God is so, like, it will be inadequate forever. So for us, it's kind of like looking at a solar eclipse. So when I was a little kid, I remember we had to make solar eclipse boxes to look at the eclipse. So it's like, dude, you're going to make a little box, I'm going to make a little box, and we're going to be looking at the same thing. So whatever you choose to look at this thing is what I'm choosing. I'm going to decorate mine the way I decorate it. You're going to decorate the way that you decorate
100%.
it. And we're going to look at it. And it's like, we're looking at the same thing. We're describing the same thing. You just might have a different story or a different way that you go about it. And for me, it's like, dude, I had to be spoon-fed baby food spirituality because I was so anti-religious that I couldn't say the word God. I felt stupid. I couldn't pray. I thought praying was retarded. I felt like an idiot praying, you know, and I just started praying, God, thank you for keeping me clean. And then you build a relationship.
Yes.
For me, a spiritual connection is a relationship with the positive energy in the world. That's again, there's negative energy. I used to have a relationship with negative energy in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be really good at finding all the
Talk about like
shit
frequencies and all that. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I've been to a party and I would find the one kid who smokes crack. And no one smokes
I'd be
crack.
in a different, wherever I was at, I'd still find some coke.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I'd see across the bar, be like, that dude's got it. Like, and I'm 3 beers in,
For
like,
sure.
sure enough, I'd find whatever I wanted to find wherever I needed to find
And
it.
sometimes it would just be innate, like a frequency where it would be, and like, bro, that's how I went to meetings. I knew people weren't full of shit because I could sense that these were drug addicts.
You get a vibe for sure.
I would get a vibe that this guy was, and I could sense that they weren't using now. And I had never met an addict who wasn't using. I've only met using addicts. So I could sense that they were good-hearted, and I could also sense they had been through some shit. It's just like the dog analogy. Like, bro, I could sense that this dog was astray. You know what I mean? It's like
got
fuck,
beat,
yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
like PTSD or some shit, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like fucking rough around the edges. Like, I could tell when I went to
I
meetings.
see people like that
you
in the
know?
world, you know, and I think people sense it about me as well because
Mhm.
you know, like scars all over my face. Like, you know, I had gotten some fights and just, I wasn't even tatted up until recently. So that was like a new thing. It wasn't, and then I never went to prison. I quit before. I just went to jail a lot, you know? So it was like, and then people meet me, they're like, you're a big teddy bear. And that's the reality is that, like, you know,
We all are. Like
100%.
Like Mike Tyson is. You know what I mean?
100%. Most of the bigger dudes, like, people are scared to talk to. Like I hit it off with most people. I hit it off with because, like, you know, even like you said, a lot of rich people, like, they're just humans, man. We're all humans, and they don't get talked to like normal humans do. And you know, but I truly believe that character was built through going through what I went through in life, being in all the places that I've been in. So, like, I wouldn't change any of the past of the, you know, ripping and running era, like being introduced to recovery at a young age. Like, I remember I had to get my paper signed. So I was
Me
like,
too.
it was forced. And there was the, you know, but the seed was planted. I still remember to this day, a guy named Spanky. He ended up running the juvenile treatment center that I was in. And the same, you know, kind of situation you had with the book that you read, like, I remember to this day, he said, I cannot use no matter what. And that's just stuck with me. Even like, even when I was using, I'm like, I can't use no matter what, but I'm using. But it was just something that ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back for me.
I remember I had to get my paper signed, and I just started going to meetings, and he was like, hey, man, it's cool that you're here. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm court ordered. And he was like, no, you're not. I was like, yeah, I just got to get my paper signed. And he was like, nah, man, you're here because you want to be here. And I was like, well, I got to get my paper signed. He's like, no, because I needed to get my paper signed. I signed it. And I was
bro,
like,
I tell these boys, because I'd be like, I'll sign the whole thing for $20. I'm like, different signatures and everything. Come on, let me.
But it's true. It's because, like, dude, I used to, if I really wanted to, I would just forward you. They're never going to know.
And then you said the earlier too, like, you know, like pretty much something similar to what I used to tell people is that, like, I dare you to stay clean. Like you said, I've never seen anybody that stayed clean for 5 years and like, yeah, worst 5 years of my life. If you're that person, you know, and you actually truly give it your all for 6 months, like there's really, you know, it's going to suck. Usually the first 6 months of anybody getting clean sucks, but you know, you get through that, man. And
I tell people it is the exact opposite of using. So it's like, man, when you start using, it's going to be fun. And then it's going to hit a corner where it's not fun and you can't get out of it. And it's just going to be a fucking nightmare. When you get clean, it might feel like a fucking nightmare and you're going to want to fucking get out of it. But if you just hold on, you're going to turn that corner and it's going to be so fucking awesome. You know, I remember this guy was like, hey, man, get ready for some fucking cool ass shit, you know? And I remember when I first got clean, people used to make jokes like, oh, I spilt more than you used or whatever. And this guy, Tommy Kennedy, at the time, bro, he was probably in his mid-30s. He got clean at 19.
wow.
And I remember I was doing the circle with him at the end of a meeting. And he came up to me after. He's like, hey, man, how long you been clean? I was like, oh, only a couple months. He goes, how old are you? I was like, I'm 17. He said, no shit, you're 17? I was like, yeah. He goes, let me tell you something. And he grabbed me by the shirt and he goes, you stay clean now, kid, you got the world by the fucking balls.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, fuck yeah, dude. And it's like, dude, I would tell that to someone who's 80 years old, you know? Because, bro, if you get clean now, I don't care who you are.
There's something
how far
about
you
it,
are.
man, being young in recovery, because like I got clean at 21. I should be at bars. I should be hanging out drinking. I wasn't legally allowed to drink 3 months before when I picked up my first white keychain. And with my dad, I got clean with my dad. So like that first, you know, they told us to go to 90 and 90. My dad he took me to a meeting because he was clean 3 years before I actually got clean. And we did like 190 and 190. We would go on Friday nights up here on Midway. There was another one at 9. We'd hit the Shepherd's Park meeting at 9. H&I meetings where it was like we'd go in and tag team it for a year straight. We did every Tuesday H&I at the jail out here at Rock Road. And like he would tell people how I would go and steal all his weed, and like we, you know, and then, you know, hit him with the story where now I had a relationship with him that none of my other brothers and sisters had, because we had the realness of riding to meetings together every single day. And but it, you know, that was, like you said, best. Yes, I used again, you know, at 27, but those years, you know, I built a business. I found my son's mother, you know, in recovery. Don't recommend. But you know, great. You know, my son's a great kid, and but became a firefighter, paramedic, and all these things. But you know, disconnected. I don't think relapse part of your story, but you know, I just wasn't done yet. Plain and simple.
And I always tell people, it's just like the gym. It's like, you know, as soon as you stop going, you start losing the gains. And it's like, you know, whatever you're doing, and like some people, it's like therapy, it's church or whatever, like whatever you're doing, it's like, I believe that like my disease is progressive, and I believe that like every single day I need to do something. And I don't know, for me, I've been blessed to have that because I know that about myself. So I have the humility to know that regardless of what anyone says, you don't get to 18 years clean without being humble, because being humble is to remain teachable. And I'm not going to meetings to go tell everyone how great I am. I'm going to meetings because I need to learn something. And I had a friend who, dude, this guy got money really quick, got popular really quick, was, you know, on social media killing it, was making a lot of money. And he had been in and out of the rooms for years, and he finally was clean. And when he relapsed, dude, he overdosed. Almost died. And I remember he called me from the hospital, and he's like, man, I don't know how this happened to me. And he's like, I thought this would never happen to me. And I was like, there you go. I think that shit's going to happen to me as soon as I stop going to meetings. You know, I think it is going to happen to me.
Or be the one that doesn't wake up.
Yeah. And it's
that
like,
one
dude,
time.
I don't want to use. So it's like, to me, like, I don't know. Like, to me, I think it's like, bro, I used to think the opposite. I used to think like, man, if 100 people robbed a bank and one person got away with it, I would be like, I'm going to be that one guy to get away with it. Now I'm like, dude, if 1,000 people got away with it, I know my ass would fucking probably
Be the one that got caught.
I would fucking be the guy who robs the Brinks truck that's empty. I would, like, I would be the guy that, like, dude, gets, like, my gun jams. Like, I would be the guy that gets caught at home. Like, I just don't think that I'm slick and cool and,
It's
like,
better off
whatever.
just not doing it, man.
Yeah, dude. It's
better
like,
off.
dude, I just don't think that I'm going to get away with it anymore, you know?
It's true.
So I don't know. I think that for me, that's why I've been able to stay clean a long time because I don't think I'm special, because I don't think that I have it all. You know, I think that once people start thinking they got it, that's the beginning of them losing it.
Yep.
You know,
Our best thinking got us in the worst place.
for sure. Best thinking, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's
But,
awesome.
yeah, man.
What do you got going on now?
So I worked in healthcare for 10 years. I owned drug and alcohol rehabs. And then my dream was to do adult entertainment. So I had always done like some type of like sex work or whatever since like when I was like 19, I used to be like a male gigolo.
Okay.
And I did it like briefly.
In recovery.
Yeah, I was clean like 5 years when I started. And it's like, dude, at the time, dude, I had I had a friend who was doing it, and I was judging him. I'm like, dude, this is unspiritual. It's like borderline illegal. And like, I just don't, like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know how you stay clean and do that shit. And I had broken up with my girl, and the guy who ran the agency was clean a bunch of years. He was my grand sponsor. And I knew him before he had the male escort agency. And I could, bro, like, when I think of this man, I think I put him in such a high regards because I remember he had tons of money.
Yeah.
And he was making the coffee at the clubhouse
Yeah.
every day. He'd be at the picnics. And it wasn't that he had a ton of money. It was that I've seen so many people become successful and leave the program.
Yeah.
I remember when he didn't have money. I remember when he got money. And I remember like when he started his male escort thing. And bro, he hugs the newcomer. He's friendly. He's just been that guy, bro. Family man, you know? And when he started the agency, I remember just being like, what the hell, you know? But I love that guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't know how other agencies are. His got to be ran with spiritual principles or something, you know? And my friend was working for him, and he was like, hey, can you come and do this job for me? And I was like, no. He's like, I'm out of town. Can you see this lady for me? And I was like, no, dude, I'm not trying to fuck no old lady. And he goes, who says she's old? And it was like a pretty young girl. And it was like a sugar daddy who was paying for me to sleep with one of his sugar babies. And bro, I got paid $3,000. At the time, I had over 5 years clean. And it didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel unspiritual. It kind of felt like someone had hired me to like give someone a massage or like fix a roof or something.
Right.
Like it felt like, all right, good job, high five. Like it didn't. I didn't.
Handyman.
Nobody got scammed. You know, I wasn't lying on the phones to anybody. I wasn't like, you know, defrauding the government. It was just kind of like, hey, thank you for your time, whatever.
Right.
And then I would do that like a couple times a month. And then I started a motorcycle business. And then me and my friend were doing motorcycles, and I was, you know, being a gigolo on the side. And then we sold that company for a couple $1 million when I was 25. And then we opened a drug and alcohol rehab. And I did that for years. And then I had a friend who was like the #1 adult star as a male online and hardcore into recovery. And bro, he was making crazy money doing it. And I was like, how does it work? And then he like showed me how to do it. But at the time I was also balancing, like, dude, I was really involved in my church.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff with kids with cancer, and I was a CEO of a drug rehab. So I couldn't really go and do this. And it was like, people were like, dude, you have like a 250 employee business right now, bro.
Right.
You're going to go do OnlyFans? You know what I mean? Or you're going to go do whatever? And I was like, and at the time, I don't know. I've just always been like a creative person. It's like when I found that I could make money doing that, and I was like good at it, and like I like the videography. Like I do see it as an art. Like regardless of what people say, I really do see it as like no different than doing a podcast.
I said that about Fernello.
Yeah. He does.
Like
that.
I'm like I mean the Adam and Eve were naked. Like it was, like. And it's art. Like any man, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or not. The guy's, if somebody walks by that's looking good, you're going to look at it. You're naturally created to be drawn to that.
And
so
it's no different than like, the 5 pleasures in the world. Like we eat, we sleep, and we like, you know, have sex. And for me, it's kind of like, it was one of those things that obviously I had to like ask myself, like, all right, is this a defect you're acting out on? Is this something that you're unhappy?
You
in
took
your
a look
life?
at it deeply.
Yeah, I took a look at it, bro. I went to a sex therapist. I talked to my sponsor about it. So I always say that because people always hit me up, yo, how can I get involved in the industry? And it's like, I don't know, bro. Like if you're in recovery, if you're not clean 5 years, I wouldn't even recommend it.
Right.
You know, and I also, dude, there's been people in the program who have asked to work with me, like girls, women. And dude, if they're not clean for a couple years, I'm not working with them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a part of that mess when they go to regret it later. And I just feel like there's plenty of other people I can work with, and I'm not into getting people in the industry. I have women that hit me up all the time. Hey, I want to get in the industry. I'm like, that's not me. I'm not that guy who gets people on. Like if you're in the industry and if this is what you want, and some people are geared towards that type of lifestyle. And I see it just like the military, or like, dude, there's some people who like, dude, the military is just for them. You know, like they just love the military or whatever. Some people, it's the worst thing to ever fucking happen to them. Being a police officer, you know, like there's PTSD that comes with that. There's some people, I watch videos all day long, but that guy should not be a police officer. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I saw one the other day. This dude like was so old that he couldn't even take the guy down, and
or
like
overweight or scared or whatever. And it's like, dude, you need to find another profession. And I'm not saying that they can't mold their skills or whatever, but there is some type of prerequisite that they're supposed to have to do the job. And a lot of people, a lot of people have feelings behind. Like I have my friend's brother, dude. He's only slept with like 2 people in his life, and he was like, dude, I just can't sleep with someone unless I'm in love with them.
Yeah.
You know, and and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that man can exist, then a man like me can exist, where like I can sleep with anybody. You know, as long as like it's like consensual and they're adults and I'm attracted to them. You know, I don't need to have that. And I really do see it just like someone who like an MMA fighter, where it's like, bro, if you're getting into fights every night,
it's your career. It's what you got.
Career, you know. But it's like somebody has been like, oh, well, what's the difference between that and prostitution? Well, it's like that's like saying people who are UFC fighters are committing battery and assault. You know, it's like, hey, this was lined up. We know we're tested. We're adults. We're creating a video for whatever. It's no different than doing a podcast with someone or whatever. And then we sell the content and we put up online. And I don't expect everyone to have that same view. I understand that my view is way out there, and that a lot of people would be like, well, that's not spiritual and whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't get mad at those people, because I once, you know, when I had 5 years clean, I was thinking the same thing. So I can't get mad at someone who doesn't agree with my views or whatever, you know. And so I've been doing that for like 3 years solid now. You know, I'm number 11 male on some of the adult sites.
Wow.
So I've gotten popular and I've had like success, and it's not easy. Like, dude, people see my life now, but it's like, dude, there was a...
Did you already had like a following before you started this, or
No,
the following pretty much came from
No, it came from nothing, because I didn't do social media. I wasn't a social media person. I wasn't trying to be popular online. You know, dude, I ran a drug and alcohol rehab. I worked in healthcare, and I had like, you know, 1,000
You still
followers.
got the rehabs?
No, I had sold my portions of them. And, you know, also it's like, dude, when I sold the rehabs, I didn't get the money that I dreamed of getting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, there was things in my life that were more important. Like, dude, I was like, dude, I'm already in my 30s. Like, when am I going to go live my life? Because, dude, honestly, from 20 to like 30, bro, I really did just work 24/7 and go to meetings. I never vacationed.
Really?
If I took a vacation, someone was begging me to go. One of my business partners was like, you got to take some time off. I didn't travel, and I didn't because I was like, I don't want to travel for a week and then have to go back to work. I want to be able to travel for months at a time. And dude, this is a dream of mine. And this sounds crazy, but I promise you, 5 years ago, I would write my goals down in first person. Like, I'm not a Grant Cardone fan, but I read his book, and the 10X book. And in his book, he talks about how write your goals down, 10X them, and write them down in first person. And I would write them down, and I would say, like, I have hundreds of millions of views on whatever hub, and I'm an adult film star. And you gotta imagine, at the time, I'm a CEO of a treatment center, speaking at my church on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is an outlandish dream. And at the time, it's like, I'm doing stand-up comedy. I just did my first stand-up
Really?
comedy show like a couple months ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then it's like, I'm writing a book. I wrote a book.
Nice.
And it's like I had all these things that I wanted to do that were creative, that weren't necessarily just to make money. And I'm traveling the world and
podcast.
I'm podcast and I'm doing adult content. And I remember writing down in my book, like, I'm traveling the world for months at a time, and I live carefree, and I can go do that. And I'm not stressed about going to work. And dude, I was just in Thailand for 3 months. I was in Bali.
Wow.
I was in Australia. I shot with Lily Phillips. She's like one of the most popular girls ever. It was like so dope. She's so cool. So it's like, people can say whatever they want to say. When I die, I believe that I will be able to say that I helped people and I accomplished my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
Which, dude, when you go to meetings, that's what they say.
Yeah.
This is a life beyond your wildest dreams.
Yep.
And some people, dude, their wildest dreams is just to be clean and have a family and whatever. And that's fine. I just believe that, like, God had really instilled in me to go do what I wanted to do creatively. And along the way, I've maintained my recovery. I've maintained helping people.
Right.
Dude, on social media, you think I'm posting about the Just for Today to be popular? I know that's not, I know people will probably look at that and are like, what? But I do it for that one person who DMs me and was like, I needed to see that today.
Yeah.
So it's like, I still put my recovery above everything else.
Yeah. You got to. It's got to be first.
For sure.
You got the book.
Yeah, I just wrote a book. So I published my first year clean. They're my diaries of my actual first year clean. I've kept a diary my entire recovery. So I literally have like 20 composition books, and then after like 5 years, I put them into Word documents. But I've been keeping a diary this entire time, and my first year clean is in that book.
Wow.
And it's called How to Talk to Girls at Parties. And it's not about how to talk to girls at parties, but that's just what I like called it. I just always liked like names that didn't really match, like the Basketball Diaries isn't about basketball, it's about shooting heroin.
Yeah.
So it's like that type of thing. But like, I put that book out there because people see a polished man today, or I would think that they do, but they really have no idea how dark my thoughts, like, dude, like, even at 17 years old with 6 months clean, there were months where I could not even put together a positive thought, where I just was.
Most people's brains aren't even fully developed at that age.
Sure.
You know what
And
I'm
it's
saying?
like, dude, I was smoking crack.
Then, that's what I tell people. Like, that part of my life, like my brain is permanently destroyed. Like, I had COPD at 28.
Wow.
From smoking whatever I could smoke, heroin, and
I was also just like a negative. Like, I truly believed I was like somewhat evil. Like, I just thought like I wasn't a good person. I didn't know how to be a good person. I was jealous. I was angry. I was a womanizer. I was extremely insecure. I just loved going to meetings. And in the book, it's like, dude, you don't see a good person. I know a girl that read the book and she was like, this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read. And she's like, I had to keep reminding myself that you were only 17. She was like, I couldn't even imagine thinking like this. Wow. And I was like, I remember her being like, I don't think this book helps anybody. And I was like, bro, she was concerned. She was like, you should get this off the internet. She was like, you could like forever get canceled. She was like, how does this help? She's like, I'm really, because she was one of the first people to buy the book.
Wow.
And she was like, I'm really like, I was like, well, did you finish it? She was like, no, Brian, I literally just finished it because I kept thinking that it had to have a good ending, and it doesn't. And I was like, well, the whole point is that I didn't use.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I just don't. She was like, why don't you have a book about how amazing you are now? And I was like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that
next?
Well, my goal is to like do a book from like 0 to 1 year to like 1 year to 3 years. 3 years to 5 years, so you can see, because at the end of the book, it's like, this kid still isn't a good person,
But what about like a documentary?
But he's grateful to be clean.
Yeah.
and he didn't get high.
And still humble.
And he was like suicidal.
Still helping people.
Yeah,
still doing the same things he was doing in the beginning.
For sure. So it's like, in the book, it's like, dude, there's a lot of things in there that I'm not proud of, but you won't read my book and be like, this kid's lying.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, and I say that because, dude, a lot of people have a year clean and they're really well-spoken and they're spiritual and all these things.
Doing better.
That didn't even happen until I had like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and you know what? At 2 years clean, like, dude, I fell in love with a girl. From 2 years to 5 years, I was in a monogamous relationship. I was crazy into yoga. I was reading every self-help book there could be. But, dude, at a year clean, I was fucking
a mess.
A mess.
Yeah.
At 6 months clean, I was getting people Suboxone. I was fucking girls that were using.
Yeah.
I was sneaking out of my house. I was getting into fist fights, thinking about shooting the school up, like, dude, I was like, not there. And I share that because I can't share about how I became who I am today without telling you
part.
when you look at the David and how it's like every single vein and every single part of the statue is done without knowing that was once just a block.
Yeah.
That was just a block. So it's like, dude, and a lot of people complicate 1 year. I tell people all the time, bro, when you make it to a year clean, the only thing you can possibly learn is don't use.
Yeah.
That is the only thing you're going to learn. You might learn the Serenity Prayer. You won't even be able to understand how deep the Serenity Prayer is and surrender and God and spirituality. You won't even understand what you did to your family until you have 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Like, you won't even be able to sense that. It takes, like, it's just not going to happen.
You clear your mind out in, a few months, but, obviously then truths, peace and relief came for me from working the steps.
For sure. So it's like, dude, that's really all you learn at a year clean is just don't use. That's it. There was nothing profound. If you're reading that book to find some profound shit, it's like, dude, it's not in there. It's like, don't use.
But it's just you, real, raw, uncut, and somebody can identify with that,
And wanting to get high every day.
That's the reality. Like, like you told my story, like that's the connection. That's why it is important to share it, continuously share it to anybody that'll listen, because even if it is that one person, I mean, that's the goal.
And even though that girl has said that, I've gotten hundreds of people message me and were like, bro, I read your book when I was using, and I found it through OnlyFans, and I found your social media, and I'm off Roxy's for 3 months.
Wow.
I've seen people who were like, dude, I found you because you posted this stupid reel, and I didn't know you're in recovery, but I just got out of rehab, So it's like, I'm able to see that there are real live benefits and effects of the book.
100%. Where can people find you?
So my Instagram is teddy.tarantino. My real name is Brian. I'm not so much sometimes when people call me Teddy, it's like comical because it's like, dude, that's a character I play.
Right.
Like that is I'm an entertainer. Like I'm not your stepbrother. You know what I mean? Like I do entertainment, and it is purely entertainment. And it's like
you're able to separate it.
I'm able to separate it. And dude, it's so crazy because like dude, people leave comments on my social media all the time, like, how could you say this, or why would you just like, bro, this is purely a joke.
Right.
And it's like, dude, I love to have fun. I love to have like laugh. Like I've done comedy, so I'm trying to get into like the comedy space, but I also have like a very serious part of my life where I do help people in a real way. But it's Teddy Tarantino. And basically, if you just look up Teddy Tarantino, you'll find me everywhere. And then my book, if you look up Teddy Tarantino on Amazon, the book will pop up on Amazon.
Did you do Amazon where they publish it and do everything?
Yeah, they publish it for you. They send it out for you. I just finished the audiobook. The audiobook was so difficult. Dude, I thought...
Have you thought about a documentary?
Yeah, man, I really want to
sell it to Netflix.
I really want to do an OFTV where I take... So OFTV is really popular. I don't know how popular it is, but I want to take people in the adult entertainment world and put them through like this course that I did. I did this course called Gratitude, and it is like a 10 I did like parts 1, 2, and 3, and it was like a 10-week thing.
Really?
But they do this thing in 3 days. It's called like part 1 is like just 3 days where they put you through like intense therapy, and it is so healing and powerful in 3 days. And there's a whole bunch of different groups that do it now.
Right.
And I'm friends with like some of the trainers.
Like a spiritual retreat? Or
it's like a spiritual retreat, but it's also group therapy. And they really like, man, they're so good at what they do. They're able to get people to open up emotionally and get past traumas in like a 3-day course. And I really would want to do something serious like that, where it's almost like Love on the Spectrum, where it's so genuine that you got to love it.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, when people think about adult creators, they're almost like not taken serious, though they're not taken seriously. But a lot of us are like, dude, I meet women all the time that are in the industry who have years clean, who have phenomenal stories, who are college educated.
Well, that's it. Is like
whatever.
separating that, being able to realize that, like, that's the, you know, what this podcast is all about, is like seeing that people are real human beings. You know what I mean? Like, I've had multiple people come on here and say, you know, like the bare knuckle fighter was like, man, this is the best, you know, podcast I've been on, because we didn't talk about what fight I'm fighting and how is this, and you know, like you got to hear my story, and it's like that's the reality of it, is that like we are all humans at the end of this thing. Like, we're all, you know, what like you said, looking through that box, we're looking through the same box. I just see it a little differently. And so definitely awesome interview, definitely awesome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, anytime.
Anything else you got to say to the
Man, I always like to say that, you know, when I was using, I would always have these drug dreams, right?
Yeah.
And I would always feel like using. And it was like tormenting me because I wanted to be clean, but I wanted to use so bad. And I was like stuck because, dude, I'm 17.
You still have dreams?
Yeah. I still have dreams, but like
I do like using. Like, I never get to use though. I was always like, I'm going to get some coke.
Like,
yes,
and it's like falls in between a gutter or something. Yeah,
I never get to.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of like how you can't die in a dream.
Yeah,
where like you don't know, like your body just can't get there, you know. But you know, this guy, I remember I was telling him about my issue, and I was telling him I was having these drug dreams, and he said it's better to be clean, dreaming about using, than to be using, dreaming about being clean.
Wow.
And I share that all the time because it changed my whole trajectory, because I remember being dope sick and looking at that girl at the Publix, and I was like, damn, what the fuck would that be like? I remember being like, damn, what would it be like to just be able to go to the Starbucks? Like, I didn't even drink coffee. I just thought it was crazy that there was motherfuckers
people in there like playing on their laptops. And
I just couldn't imagine being excited for coffee.
Yeah,
bro. I used to have my pills next to my bed like this, and I'd go to sleep and I'd look at them, and I'd go to sleep and I'd look at them, and I'd be like that's what it was.
Setting them all
I
up,
couldn't
and,
imagine.
They were so beautiful.
I couldn't imagine going to Starbucks and being like, I'm about to get like, I didn't even know what people. I never even had tried coffee before.
My thing was the sizes, like the venti.
The venti.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I would do anything where you wake up in the morning and look forward to coffee.
Yeah.
Where that's your pick me up. Like, I couldn't even imagine that. I was like, dude, who does that? Because like, to me, bro, if I didn't have pills in the morning, if I didn't have opiates in the morning, dude, I was suicidal.
It was like an excitement. Or even if you didn't have them, but you knew you were going to get them, like I would like
That's
set my
all it
alarm
was.
for 4 o'clock, like the paycheck that's going to hit in the morning.
Some of my most miserable existence on earth was when I had dope and money, because there was nothing to look forward to and I had no one to call.
Yeah.
I had nothing there. When y'all had money and drugs, I was like, dude, no one will even hang out with me. I'm by myself. And like, now what? And it's like you just get hit with this loneliness. And like, dude, the drugs couldn't even make it go away. I still felt it when I was high. And it was like, when I was using
spiritual void.
When I was looking for drugs, I was preoccupied with, oh, I need to call this person, I need to go this or whatever. But when I had enough for like a day and a half.
You get addicted to that though too.
Oh, for sure. That's the whole
lifestyle.
point.
Yeah.
It's just like gambling. You get addicted to the losing.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
You gamble a lot?
No, but okay. I recently got brought into this group where it's like sports betting, and it's like why am I doing this? Like, it's
I
not even.
hate it.
Yeah,
I hate
it's
gambling.
like,
I can't win enough to make me happy, and if I lose $100, I'll be pissed the fuck off.
yeah, it's just, it's worthless.
Mhm.
But no, awesome. So is the podcast coming back or what?
So Hell Has an Exit. I'm bringing it back. I'm about to start filming my first couple episodes, but I just know that once I started, I can't stop it. So it's like, you know, once you consistently put out episodes, you got to consistently put out episodes. So I've been in the process of like trying to get other things in order, and
You
then
could do
like,
seasons, like we're like
yeah, I could, but like I like to.
hit 25 and be like,
I'm
hey,
an-
next season.
I'm an all or nothing guy, you know.
Yeah,
It's
me
like
too.
so. I'm like, dude, if we're gonna
two
do
a
it,
week now.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't
fuck
notice,
yeah.
so
Are you doing 2 a week?
2 a week.
Wow.
Posting, I got a backlog, so you're probably 2-3 weeks out before
Yeah,
yours is.
yeah. I used to always try to have 5 on deck before I would film. So it's like, yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I definitely want to bring it back, man, because it really did. I didn't realize how many people it was helping, and I think now with me doing entertainment and stuff, because I really do hate doing corny reels, and it's like, dude, that's really the only thing that goes viral. But I did a post like a couple weeks ago. That was like a positive motivational post.
Yeah,
And dude, it got sent around like 30,000 times.
it hit.
And when a positive post goes viral, it feels so good because it's so hard. Like, bro, if I get a girl that's cute and I do something funny that's 10 seconds and I do a trend, that's not really something creative. I took something that's trending and I remade it my own and I added a hot girl in it.
Yeah.
And it happened to get 500,000 views. Okay, cool. Whatever. But when I have something that is like a life lesson that's about addiction or about like mindset and that goes viral, that's not from something I stole from someone
you're
else.
hitting a different
It's
realm.
and it's a different sense of pride where it's like, oh man, because even dude, when I do a stupid reel and it goes viral, I'm like happy
Still excited.
because I'm
yeah.
like, dude, fucking that shit's hard because
Yeah.
I did 7 that went nowhere.
You're right.
And it's like, you know, you talk about the ugly stage, dude. I remember doing social media and getting no views and getting no comments. And it's like people probably looking at me like, dude, this guy threw away his life. And now he's doing TikToks, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, there was an ugly stage and there was a rough time. And there was a time where, dude, the adult content wasn't making any money. I had dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars into it. None of it was making sense. All my shit was unorganized. And it's like, now it's a real business.
Yeah.
And when I do something that is, so that's why I want to have the podcast, because then I can add serious content into what I'm already putting out there.
It's a thing now too. I'm not gonna say it's a fad because, like you
Mhm.
said, it's a lot of people will start and fail, and
Mhm.
and you know, I've just been like trying to connect myself with people who have experience in the realm, and like
Mhm.
obviously, just like school, man, you never learn, you never use what you learn in school in real life. It's always
For
like,
sure.
here, this is the school version, and this is what you're gonna do
The
when you
real
actually
version.
get out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, take what you need and leave the rest, man. Eat the meat, and spit out the bones, and what is working or what is not working? What's your definition of it? So that's where you got to realize, like, hey, why am I doing this? And if it's a passion, and then the icing on the cake is something that comes of it, great. But you know, definitely want to help out in any way I can
Yeah,
with your
absolutely, me
mission.
too,
And
for sure.
super grateful you made it, man. Awesome story. Definitely
Thank
can
you.
identify with a bunch of it. And man, let's stay connected.
Yeah.
We'll definitely keep collabing,
For sure.
and
We'll do some car stuff.
for sure. That's the other part. We didn't even start talking about
know.
cars, but we'll do that next. We'll see some long form content at the car shows.
Yes, sir.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of Discipline and Legacy Podcast.